Now this function is so easy. The differentials are just a different notation for you to see the linear approximation format. So it's the same equation as the linear approximation function, except you have the differential. So the dw is playing the role of the change in w, and so the equation should be dw equal to dw du du. Note the difference is in the partial derivative d and the du of the differential. That's a regular d, that's around d, that's the partial derivative, d around d, and dw dx plus dw dy dw dz. That's all we need to do. So all we need to do is calculate partial derivatives of all four variables with respect to all four variables of w. So when I derive with respect to u, what I need to do is I need to derive this function 2y plus 3z with respect to u, x plus 2 at the bottom there. What you have to focus on is that when you're deriving with respect to u, the top is a constant. So it's as if you're deriving some constant times x plus u to the negative 1. So the constant stays. You bring the power down, so that's a minus 1 times the function to the power minus 1. So decrease the power by 1 becomes a negative 2. Okay? So dw du will be negative. Maybe I'll keep that blue. Negative 2y plus 3z divided by x plus u squared. That's because of that. du. Right? So I'll leave it to you to calculate the derivative with respect to x, but that will be the exact same number, the exact same calculation. I'll leave it to you to verify that. The exact same procedure. And the derivative of the inside, which we need to derive with respect to u, is still 1, right? It's like we had a 1 here from the chain rule. It's the same one that's multiplying x is the one that's multiplying u, so we get the same value. Again, I'll let you verify that yourself. When derive with respect to y and to z, it's also very, very simple. Derivative of that with respect to y. Remember, right, we're assuming everything else is a constant, so we're deriving this expression. It's as if we have this plus that. This is some constant times y, so the answer is the constant of the derivative. And this is just a constant, there's no y here, so this is just a 0. So that's just the answer. Okay? So the second part there is 2 over x plus 1 times dy. And then in a similar fashion, you derive that with respect to z. The only thing left is this constant. So I'll let you write it out again if you need, but it's the same procedure. This is the answer. The constant multiplying z. All the rest does not depend on z, so it's a constant. When I derive, the answer is 0. So just 3 over x plus 1 is left. Or excuse me, x plus u is left. dz. And that, these 4 numbers are the numbers that go into those boxes on the left there. Careful with the minus signs. Careful with them. Sometimes you don't need them because they're positive. Sometimes you do need them. So be careful.